everyone. My name is Alison Woodall, and I'm a relocation coach. That means I get to help you with the financial, logistical, and emotional issues that make moving to a new state so stressful. And today I am talking to Rob O'Connor, and he is a realtor in Tampa. Rob, welcome.
Hey, how you doing? Great to
I'm
be
doing
here.
good. I am very excited to talk to you about Tampa. It is one of my favorite places that I have ever lived, and I was so sad to leave. And I have a 15-year plan to get back to Tampa. But before we start talking about how beautiful your area is and how amazing it is, you weren't born there. You were born in New York, is that
Yes,
correct?
yeah, upstate New York, actually.
And what made you leave?
Oh, well, beside the blizzards and, the economics of the politics, everything, all those things look way more appealing in Florida than New York.
All right. And then you haven't always lived in Tampa. You used to live on the east coast of Florida as well.
Yeah, yeah. So when I originally came down in 1997 as a young man of 23 years old, I first went to Cape Canaveral, Cocoa Beach area on the east coast of Florida. And in 2008, a job opportunity got me out to Tampa, and I was happy it did because I actually love Tampa a little more than I do Cocoa Beach.
That's great, because I think when you're a realtor, if you've lived other places, particularly within your state, then you can be very objective. And if someone comes to you, they can say, well, I'm thinking about Tampa, but maybe I'm thinking about, I don't know, Daytona Beach. And you can say, well, these are the pros of the East Coast and these are the cons. And so I think it makes you a lot more objective and allows you to be, to help a lot more people. Well, I would love to know a little bit more about Tampa. So tell me the things, first of all, that you love about Tampa the most.
What I love about Tampa, well, geez, what's there not to love? There's always something to do. You got the beaches real close. You have Busch Gardens. You have museums such as Mosey and Dolly Museum and St. Pete. We have the two of the best beaches in the country, in Siesta Key and Clearwater Beach. And there's just always something to do. It's really beautiful. The job market is booming. We got a great governor to thank for that. And it's just, like I say, there's always it's good for families, right? So my kids grew up partially here and partially on the other coast, but we left to go to New York for like a year, and they couldn't wait to get back to Tampa. Yeah. I mean, they begged me all the time to come back to Tampa, and they will never leave this area. I can tell you that.
Yeah, and that's exactly how my kids were. We were in Tampa for 2.5 years and loved everything about the place. One of the things that I loved most was there's amazing restaurants, there's bars, and everything is pet friendly. So you literally can take your dog anywhere with you, which for me, having got used to that, and then moving to California where my dog couldn't go anywhere with me, everything is just, Tampa is just one of my favorite places. And then of course you have Gasparilla, which is a giant pirate parade for those people who don't know. And I was there this year, and it was, even though I don't live there anymore, it's literally like Mardi Gras, but everybody dresses up as pirates, and it's kind of a once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah, you also have all the championship parades too. We had the Super Bowl here, which is great. Twice since I've lived here, we've hosted the Super Bowl. And last year, obviously, Tampa Bay was the first team the Bucks were the first team to actually win in their home stadium, the Super Bowl. So they call us Tampa Bay now.
Yeah. Well, so I think we've done a good job selling everybody who's watching this video on just the overall, kind of what Tampa's got to offer. So let's get a little bit specific about your market. The first thing that I always like to kind of discuss is kind of like your average price point, because there may be some people watching this video who have, a $250,000 budget, and they probably aren't going to be able to get into your market. What would be kind of like a very low level entry price into your market, and what would be kind of like your median? Because I know it goes up to gazillion-dollar mansions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, well, like you said, I mean, it used to be about, even a year ago, at 250 to 300, you could find something small, decent in the suburbs, maybe 35, 40 minutes outside of the downtown area. Today, it's not like that. I mean, the prices here have gone up quite a bit, I believe 32% over the last year. So you're talking 350 to 400 in some of the outskirts, the suburbs. Beautiful, new construction too, not just pre-existing. In fact, in some cases, it's easier to get in new construction than it is to get in the pre-existing market. But yeah, anything from there on the outskirts, I do some beautiful communities over there. But the closer you get to the water and the closer you get to downtown, the more it goes up.
Yeah, and for good reason. So I lived just off Bayshore, and I lived in a 1,000 square foot apartment, and we paid $3,500 a month to live there. We didn't even have a washer and dryer in our apartment.
Wow.
It was very, very basic. It kind of looked like a, I don't know, 1950s motel, but it was actually apartments. But the being close to, Howard and the main kind of areas, and we could walk to downtown. It was just the most amazing experience.
And you don't even need to walk all the time anymore, because we have the scooters that you can rent from like Uber and whatnot in the downtown area. So
Yep.
You can zip around pretty quick.
And taxes, what are property taxes like?
There's no state income tax, so it's really not bad. I mean, I've looked at the taxes for New York, and New Jersey, and some of those areas around there, and they're twice as much as they are here, the property taxes, and then they have a state income tax as well on top of it.
Yeah, well, we moved from Tampa to California, which is how I discovered this group and Terry. And so going from Tampa to California with the taxes and everything was just crazy. So, that's what I always say. If you're moving to Tennessee, if you're moving to Florida, if you're moving to Texas, your property taxes may be a little bit higher, but you're not paying income tax. And if you choose to pay less, you just buy a smaller house. And then the amount of your income.
The general rule of thumb is about 1.5%. Figure that, because that's just a conservative amount, and it could be lower than that if there's no CDD involved or other things. So that's just a good rule of thumb if you're trying to estimate in your head what it's going to be.
Okay. And are you seeing any kind of sign of the market slowing down a little bit? Because a lot of people I talk to, it's not quite as crazy as it was, but it's still a hot market. Are you seeing that, or are you as busy as ever?
I'm quite busy, actually. I have a lot of houses under contract right now that are still being built, new construction. Where there was 25 to 30 offers on a house, now there might be 12. So yeah, I guess it slowed down a little. But they're still going over on average of, for pre-existing anyway, about 10% over asking price in general.
Yeah, and I think this is the good thing about talking to someone like you, because then you can be realistic about, if you want to move to Tampa, what your budget needs to be, what the market's like, all of those kind of things. You're not going in thinking you can spend $300,000 and get your dream house, be
Right.
The only person putting in an offer. It's just creating that sense of realism.
It's true. It just helps them, and it helps me, because a lot of times it seems like the magic number is 350. If I ever ask what your budget is, it's always 350. Whether you want a 4-bedroom with a pool or 3-bedroom with no pool, their budget's always 350. But you have to be realistic. Everything has a cost. Can we get there if you're flexible and but decisive? Yeah. That's the people that are winning in this market.
Yeah, it's all about compromise, and that's when I have an online guide for people who are moving, and the first thing that I do is get people to be very, very clear on what's like what they cannot live without and where they can compromise, because then you can decide. It makes it easier to decide. Okay, so we talked about your market. Let's talk about schools and amenities. What are your schools like?
Actually 2 years ago, and not a lot of people know this, but Governor DeSantis passed a bill in which made our teachers the 3rd highest paid in the country. So they've definitely have made some investment in education. I know we've always gotten a bad rap, but my personal experience, being that my daughters have gone to school in New York, and have gone to school here. When we went back to New York for that 1 year, my daughter was actually way ahead of the students that were in school there. I mean, she already, spoke another language, which was Spanish that she chose, and they were just starting to take Spanish in middle school. And when we came back, she was actually behind half year because some of the curriculum that they had here, they don't have in New York. So my personal experience is the schools here were way underrated to begin with.
That's exactly matches my experience. My kids went from Florida to California and knew tons and knew everything that they needed to know, spent a year and a half in California schools, moved back to Georgia, and now they have coaches because they've missed so much stuff in California. Florida is excellent. Even the schools that don't get as high a rating as they could on the greatschools.org. I always say the school rating doesn't show the full picture, because if your lifestyle is amazing, if you are living this fabulous life in Florida, in Tampa, and the school, it's based on so many different things. And so if you're living in a community that you love, if you've got the lifestyle that you've always dreamed of, school rating is a factor, but it shouldn't be a deciding factor.
Yeah, and actually to that point of the websites and some of the ratings that they get, they're always, because of the development here, and they have to rezone the schools all the time. So a lot of times you might see a bad rating from 3 years ago. It's no longer even relevant because it was a totally different situation at that time. This is one of the things, like the CDDs and stuff goes towards, is infrastructure and schools and all of that. So when you go into a new community, you can't go by the school grade thing online.
What about hospitals as well? Because I know that's a big thing for people.
Oh yeah, hospitals are fantastic. I mean, I can only compare to where I was in New York, but it's day and night. It has been from my very first experience going to a hospital here back in 1998. I was just blown away with the technology that they had here that they did not have in New York. I mean, think about it. Like, if you're a doctor, a good doctor, and you could live anywhere, where would you rather live? New York or Florida, Tampa area? But we have Advent Healthcare. We got Tampa General Hospital, which is like one of the #1 hospitals in the country. I actually had back surgery there, and I mean, I'm great now. So yeah, hospitals are great.
I would second Tampa General. We were packing up our pod the day before we moved, and my husband got a kidney stone and spent, I think, 10 hours in the emergency room at Tampa General. Wow. While my kids and I finished loading up the pod. So I always tell people, have great health insurance, because crazy stuff happens when you move. But Tampa General's excellent. And they also have an amazing craniofacial surgeon in Tampa. She's one of the best in the country, just as a random fact.
Oh yeah, well, I didn't know. Yeah, well, they got one of the best back surgeons. I can attest to that.
Yeah. Well, my son was born with a cleft lip, so he had to have like a revision surgery, and it was just the most phenomenal experience. So, all right. So schools, healthcare, job market. Who are your big employers? What's kind of like the big industry in Tampa?
Oh man, Amazon's huge here, but a lot of tech companies are moving in. We got some insurance companies, like big ones, USAA right down the road, MetLife is down the road from me. Bank of America has a huge building in downtown. Well, you would know that. And, there's just a lot of tech companies coming in. They're doing a great job of bringing those people to Tampa.
And also emergency power, because that's what my husband worked in. That's what brought us to Tampa. He works in the generator industry. And so I know that obviously, generators are a big thing in Florida, which kind of brings me on to the next thing, which people worry about, is hurricanes. So how big an impact do hurricanes have in Tampa?
Well, can I just back up real quick about the job thing? Trades, like, we really need trades here. There's a labor shortage, so all of the builders, whether it's commercial or residential. Yeah, we need anything with trades. You're gonna do well in this area because it's constantly booming and growing.
Yeah. Well, you need to build all those houses for all the people who are moving to Tampa.
Yes, yeah. There's everywhere. There's new construction going on.
Yeah.
Probably more so than anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
Outside of Texas, I think is pretty big too. But
Yeah.
here.
Well, wonderful.
But
So tell me about hurricanes. How much do hurricanes impact your life?
like not at all.
And that's what I tell people. Floridians don't think about hurricanes until on the weather map there's one that's coming right there. And I don't think Tampa's ever had a direct hit, has it? There's something about the bay that deflects them north or south.
Right. Not since, I mean, it's been a long, long time. Last year, I think we had a close call. One was coming and they predicted it would go here, but again, it just skirted up the side and went up by Pensacola. My only time that I ever had a problem with hurricanes was when I was on the East Coast over in that Cocoa Beach area. And in 2004, we took a couple hits.
Yeah, but you didn't flee. You stayed. Most people just shelter in place because most houses are built to withstand, anything other than the most extreme kind of hurricane. Yeah.
So since Hurricane Andrew, several years ago, what was it, like 1996 or something like that? They had new code and they built the houses to withstand, up to 200-mile-per-hour winds in a lot of cases. I mean, there's some homes in downtown Tampa, and you would know this, that are from like the early 1900s that they're not even block construction. They're framed, they're wood framed, and they're still there. It's kind of just the stuff that you hear, right? Like I'm never, lived in California, so I would be paranoid of earthquakes because that's what you hear about all the time, or fires. But I'm sure that's not the case to the people that actually live there. They're, you just have a different perspective than the people that are actually living there.
Mm-hmm. And then what about bugs and alligators and frogs and other things that people worry about?
Frogs. Yeah, they're a thing. Alligators are here. They tell you to just assume they're in every water, any lake, pond, whatever, just assume they're there and you'll never be surprised. So snakes, they're a thing also, but I haven't seen a snake in probably 2 years. And at that time, it was just a black racer, which is completely harmless.
Yeah. And when you do see a snake, normally they're heading in the opposite direction. They're not coming for you. They see you and they go.
Yeah, well, unless you're my wife, then she goes the other direction like really fast.
You see, I grew up on a farm and I'm terrified of rodents. So I can, I have no bad experiences of snakes. Snakes don't really feature in my life. Bugs don't bother me. But give me like a teeny tiny rodent and that's it. I'm done.
Oh, no, my wife runs from everything. Like, if it moves, she runs from it.
Well, so if she's scared of like bugs and stuff, how does she deal with the humidity? Because I know humidity is not really an issue for most men, but for women, particularly if you have longer hair, you spend your summer with your hair in a ponytail.
In the summertime, it's humid, but everywhere you go, it's air conditioned, right? So you got controlled climate inside. It's only when you go outside. And then in the summertime, when it's like 95 degrees, you're either at the beach or by a pool or something along those lines. But yeah, going to a water park is nice, but going to like Disney in the middle of the summer, yeah, it can be a little sticky.
Yeah, well, for people who've watched a lot of my videos, they know that I always say that no matter where you live in the world, 3 months out of the year are going to be less than perfect weather. In the Northeast, it's storms and snow in winter, but then in the South, it's just you put up with the humidity in summer because everything else about Tampa is just amazing, in my opinion. All right, so anything else that we haven't covered about Tampa and your market that you want to touch on?
I mean, the proximity, I guess, location to like things. We're an hour from Disney, from Orlando and Universal Studios, which are which are great. I've had annual passes at some point to all of them. And for the kids, it was great. It was just something to do, even if you're like we were away from family. Most of our family is in New York, so around holidays and stuff like that, we kind of came up with our own traditions and went to theme parks, or there's just a lot of different places to discover in Tampa. It's exciting when you're new to the area because you'll be busy for a long time, especially if you're into exploring new areas and culinary delights, like what you mentioned earlier. There's just I've not even scratched the surface, and I've been here since 2008.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just going back to the family and other places, Tampa Airport is excellent. It connects everywhere. There are a few direct flights, but it's so easy to get through, and it connects to all the major cities. So even though you may need to connect to get back to California, it's such an easy airport. And then what I discovered, because all my family is still back in England, when we lived in Atlanta, which we're now back in Atlanta, to fly out of Atlanta internationally is so expensive, and to fly from California anywhere is so expensive. But if you fly out of Orlando, you can go anywhere in the world so incredibly cheaply, because Orlando subsidizes, I think, all the flights internationally so that people from all around the world will come to Disney. So if you ever want to travel, travel the world, Tampa's great, because like you say, you're an hour, I think it's an hour and 20 minutes to the airport in Orlando. Mm-hmm. And a flight from Atlanta to England would have cost me $2,000, and we would fly out of Orlando for about $600 or $700.
Oh, wow. That's
the savings flying out of Orlando are just enormous if you want to travel.
Yeah, we have a couple other international airports. Like we have the one in St. Petersburg, Clearwater, St. Pete, which has gotten big because Frontiers there and Spirit Airlines, I believe, flies out of there. And also Sarasota Airport has been growing. That whole area has been growing. But so you have a lot of different options as far as flying in and out. We're just a hop, skip, and a bump from the islands. So if you want to go to Aruba or U.S. Virgin Islands, Bahamas, all of that is, I think, in less than an hour plane ride from Tampa.
And you have the cruise ships as well.
Yes, yeah, we have the cruise ship. We got Tampa, the port of Tampa. We got a little of everything. We got MacDill Air Force Base nearby. Which this year they had the air show came back, which was great. We got to see the Blue Angels. Yeah, there's just always something to do.
I would agree. I mean, we literally we did something every single weekend for the 2.5 years that we were in Tampa, because there was just so much to do. I didn't even make it back to Disney because we were so busy doing other things, but it was just an amazing experience. So I think we've sold everybody on how amazing Tampa is. And I promise you, I'm not paid to endorse Tampa. This is just me talking from just 2.5 years of just the most amazing life and having such great friends there.
I am paid, but I I swear I'm telling you the truth. It's I love it. I live here. I'll never move from this area ever, unless it's changes course drastically. But I have no doubt it won't.
Well, wonderful. So if someone wants to contact you, so it's not just you have a team of realtors.
Yes. So I'm the team leader, Rob, like it says back here, and there's 8 of us. We are able to cover a wide range geographically, but we're also able to meet the needs of our clients better, because I'm not too busy. If I'm too busy, I have somebody else, so we always have somebody to give that very close personal touch to when they're looking for a home, because you need that. Communication is everything. I firmly believe it. And so we cover 3 of the hottest markets in the country, which is not just Tampa, but Wesley Chapel, Odessa, and Lakewood Ranch area, Lakewood Ranch, Sarasota. So we have the whole I sold houses as far as New Smyrna Beach, which is actually on the East Coast, and Fort Myers, which is south. So we were able to cover a vast area.
Wonderful. And then you said you had a YouTube channel as well, so which I can link to. But what does it have a name that people could search for it? Or
yeah, so I have like 5 YouTube channels, but I have This is Tampa podcast, which is one of my podcast channels. You can find it on Facebook as well. This is Tampa TV, which is more about, probably gonna be more interest to people looking to move here, because we do neighborhood videos, we do videos of new construction projects, walkthrough videos of the homes, you know, the different style homes. We do some small business spotlights, so you can really get an idea of the type of life, like lifestyle videos. Yeah, so you can find those on YouTube. This is Tampa TV, This is Tampa podcast. I have my own Tampa Rob, so I'm Tampa Rob. That's what people remember me by. But
perfect. Well, I will. If you'll email me all the links, then I'll post the links to all of those different places in the comments wherever everybody's watching this video. And if someone wants to reach out to you, is it phone? Is it email? What's the best way to contact you?
Phone, email, smoke signals, whatever, it'll work.
What number would you like them to contact you on, or your team?
So you can reach me at 813-928-6745, or email me at robert.o'connor, OCONNOR, at CB, C as in Charlie, B as in Bravo, realty.com. And you can go to my website, robluxuryhomegroup.com, tamparob.com. Yeah, there's, like I said, several ways to reach me.
Well, perfect. Well, I'll put links to all of the ways to contact you in the comments on wherever you're watching this video. Well, wonderful. Well, you've got me all excited. I'm going to go refine my 15-year plan to get back. Unfortunately, I know the places that I want to live are very, very expensive. So I have a lot of saving and planning to do. But I really appreciate everything that you've shared with me. And I know you've inspired a lot of people to move to Tampa.
I sure hope so. And, you know, I look forward to providing some more, you know, stuff for the group and to kind of help them make a decision. One other thing I wanted to mention before we go is we have a new thing that just came out. It's called the Move Meter, and I'll send you that link. It actually, you can put in the city that you live in and the city you want to go to, not just Tampa, but anywhere in the country. And it actually has a whole analysis of everything from, you know, quality of life to jobs, to pay, to, you know, affordability, all that stuff. So it's a real neat tool that just now was released by my brokerage. Oh,
wow. Okay. Well, it's a good reason to call you and get in contact. So thank you so much. I appreciate everything you shared with us.
All right. Well, thank you, Alison. I appreciate it.